And I think, like I said, at first, looking from the top down, it had that rejection from the daily high value area. From a 4-hour perspective, we shifted structure, good momentum, dropping down to the 2-hour. That POI was established. What I like is that it had strong momentum coming out of this point, or push after this area of consolidation, pushed higher with good momentum, point of overlap that we had as an extra confluence with that 4-hour time frame, and then met all the entry criteria on those micro time frames, and then ultimately executed on the 20. My name's Sam, and welcome to another episode of my weekly review on the Modern Day Trader channel. Despite not trading this week, the market moved really nicely this week, and there was such a good textbook position on USD ZAR that would have played out for about 70% if I was active, if I'd caught it. I think looking in hindsight, that's always something we need to remember, that you may see trades in hindsight, but don't always beat yourself up for seeing it in hindsight, because you may not have caught it in the moment. But I think regardless of that, it was a very clean trade. I think let's just jump on the charts to look at it before we get into anything else. USD ZAR, look, not that we don't expect much from it, but it's a very corrective pair just by its nature. But I think it's just testament to the fact that there can be very clean setups on these pairs that are largely corrective but volatile in certain periods or at certain moments. And this week was a really, really good example of that. So just starting from the daily coming down, we can see we have this high value area here. The price full traded lower towards, quite impulsive coming down into that area. But as we started getting there, we definitely decelerated, lost momentum. I like that it was no close below this level. We kind of just tested it and then got our first real bullish push to the upside. So good signs from the daily. Dropping down to the 4-hour, we had a really nice push to the downside. Consider that a run of liquidity. We had shifted structure. With this candlestick, this was a break lower when price was still bearish. And then we went on to shift to the upside. So we got that change of structure on the 4-hour in a really, really good area from that daily high value area. Again, on the 4-hour, I like that we didn't close below at all, but we did test that level. We wicked below on one of these 4-hour candlesticks, but the level held at the end of the day, and we shifted that structure. These are all just good signs as I would have been watching the market play out, that we're shifting from this area, and I should start preparing to take positions to the upside, or to identify positions to the upside. And now this was the 4-hour structure, but dropping down to 2-hour, which would have been that lower time frame structure. The structure itself just played out a bit differently, and I based my structure off solid body closes below the low. In this case, below the low, continuing lower. If we're going to break structure to the upside, then we need a solid body close above. And so I've marked that out for you guys to see where we did get those closes below, those breaks of structure, and then, reversal to the upside on the 2-hour. A POI was established on the 2-hour. I like this point to establish quite strong momentum, which is always a good sign. And so if I just mark that up quickly, we would have had our protected low there, which for me just defines that point, that extreme point that I consider my low point for the structure, where I don't anticipate price can trade below, but not to break below or close below without invalidating that 2-hour bullish structure. And then my POI, point of interest, just kind of taken from where the momentum came into the downside at that most extreme point. And so that was a clean 2-hour POI. And A confluence that we got here that I really like is what I call this point of overlap, where we establish 4-hour structure and then we come back with mitigated 4-hour structure. You saw on the 4-hour, we mitigated this, but then on the 2-hour as well, the 2-hour forms in an area that overlaps with that 4-hour point of interest. And then we create this point of overlap, as I call it. And that for me, or what I'm seeing over a couple of trades, is a really high probability point. And so I've got my daily confirmation we're rejecting. We've got the 4-hour structure to the upside. We've mitigated the 4-hour structure. That's what I look for. Drop down to my lower time frames, which is the 2-hour to the 20-minute. We've got the 2-hour POI. That's clean. Now we're looking for our entry criteria. In this instance, as I was looking back, there was a unrefined entry, and I'll take you through that quickly. So for an unrefined entry, I'll drop down to the micro timeframes, which in the 2-hour case, anything between the 5, 10, and 15 minutes. I don't like going any lower than 5 minutes when it's a 2-hour POI, just because then feels like the shift on these lower timeframes isn't as established. But I like to look for a solid run of liquidity. Got there, liquidity, and then a break of structure to the upside, shifted that structure there. Difference between my unrefined entries and my conservative or refined entries is that in the unrefined entries, this lower time confirmation for me is just a confirmation that we've shifted on the lower time frames, but I don't execute on these time frames. On a refined or conservative entry, I would look to then enter on a limit order when the price pulls back from this point of breaking structure. But for now, I just got the shift of structure, and then I go back up to, for my unrefined entries, anywhere from the 10-minute to the 30-minute. And this is where I look at, I think, the candlestick behavior, price behavior. And I'm looking for wicks opposite to the or at least in the direction of the trade that I'm looking to take. So you can see, for example, here, it's mainly wicks to the downside or doji or indecision candles. So we got 2 here, and that was a good sign. When I was looking at this trade or looking in hindsight, I said, look, I may not have taken it at this point, so let me wait to see a couple of candlesticks to see how the market would have reacted. And could see we formed very low momentum candlesticks, and then we had a bit of a push to the upside, and I was like, look, okay, let me execute here. I already had the confirmation there, but it was almost just waiting a bit to see how the market played out. So taking the trade there, the close about 20 minutes, stops just below the detected low, because that's my most extreme point. And then obviously on the 2-hour, just targeting these equal highs here at that most extreme point. $20 coming there, probably would have given us a bit more room to breathe. We look too much and go to about 40 for the start. Yeah, that's also then. So yeah, you guys can see clean 7R odd. This played out nicely. Would have moved to break even at this point because I was 1% up. Probably wouldn't have put stops into profits, minimum utility and that and there. But we're trading very heavily into profit now. I'm at break even, so it's fine. We get another shift to the upside, and then probably would have locked in profits just below that low. Again, then just below this low. And then, yeah, we reached TP, which was very clean. So this was, very textbook trade. Just looking at the time, it played out as well. Very early London session, which is when I'm typically most active on the charts. So this went well. And I think, like I said, first looking from the top down, it had that rejection from the daily high value area. From a 4-hour perspective, we shifted structure, good momentum, dropping down to the 2-hour. That POI was established. What I liked is that it had strong momentum coming out of this point, push after this area of consolidation, pushed higher with good momentum, point of overlap that we had as an extra confluence with that 4-hour time frame, and then met all the entry criteria on those micro time frames, and then ultimately executed on the 20. So very clean trade. Bummer that you missed it, but at the end of the day, I knew why I wasn't in the market this week. Exams are coming up this coming week, so all the focus was really there, and that almost curbs a bit of the FOMO, because there was a bit of FOMO. I'm not going to say there wasn't, because that's a trade that on 0.25% risk times 7 would have been maybe 1.5%. So I could be etching just below break even on my funded account, which would have been a really solid week, and I think a really solid end to quarter. Could have been potentially up about 9R, which is close to about 2%. So that was a trade that I missed this week. In terms of account change and my account metrics on FTMO, not much change, not any change at all, to be honest, because like I said, I wasn't trading. But other than the charts, the studies have been going really well. At this point, kind of just revision, mock exams. CAIA syllabus itself, it's my second time doing it. I did do this exam in September last year. Fortunately, didn't pass. I think at that time, my preparation wasn't as, robust and focused as it is now. Work was a lot more hectic at the time, so definitely feel like I'm in a much better place from a preparation point of view. The syllabus itself is quite challenging, but I think because it's very much in line with some of the work I'm looking to do on the corporate side in terms of the financial advisory, wealth management, investment management side of things. It's very cool, the stuff I'm learning, and as complex as it is, especially with topics like volatility and insurance linked sort of structured products and things like that. It makes the head hot from time to time. But I think for anyone looking at gaining, a much better understanding of private market investing, and I think especially even coming from a traditional finance background where you deal with a lot of fixed income and sort of cash investments, the CAIA, as opposed to sort of subsections of like a CFA or a CFP where they touch on alternative investments, dives really deep into the range of products available, the range of metrics, performance metrics, risk metrics that you use when analyzing these types of investments. And if you're looking at getting into a private equity hedge fund or private real estate side of things, then it's 100% for you. But it's going well nonetheless, and I'm very keen for my exam this week. I think because I'm on leave this week, from Friday, and then this week, I was a lot more consistent in the gym. First time this year where I've racked 40 sessions. I almost said 40 sessions. Clearly, I'm in the gym every 3 hours. 4 sessions this week, which is a big improvement. I generally do 3, but having done 4, energy levels are still good. Strength is coming back nicely. Mass, we're starting to pack that on nicely now. We're getting there, and this is all still an exam prep, so I'm hella chuffed with gym and how that's progressed. But I think it's just been having to balance, such intense like mental work and trading is just that release, and that's, stress management and just the time away from the intense studying that I've been doing. But I think, despite all of that, your boy's tired. It's been a hectic couple of months studying, building this YouTube channel with Marcy, work, some exciting things happening on the work side that I'm keen to share with you guys soon. Fingers crossed it goes well. But work's also been very crazy. And I think just in all of this, just in like being tired, something that's just come to the top of, or a topic I think that's just kind of like been on my mind, is you kind of just need to honor your word and like become an individual who honors your word, because you can be tired, but the job isn't done yet. And I think whenever you aim, goal, or say you're going to do something, it's quite important to take a structured approach to kind of like your downtime and taking breaks and all of that, because if you kind of just go, or you go about your days or your weeks working and taking breaks based on how you feel, or maybe if you wake up and you're tired this morning, then you take the morning off, or you're starting to work, you get into a flow, and then you just get to a point where you're like kind of over this, I'm tired, I've been working like 4 or 5 hours, but let me just take a break. You find most often than not, it's not that you can't keep going or that you are actually done or you're tired. It's just when you are pushing yourself, and even if you're not at your limit, your mind will start to make up any excuse it can to get you out of that. And hence, when you go into something, I think have a very clear idea of, on a day-to-day basis, on a week-to-week basis, what you want to do, when you're going to do it, and when you're going to take downtime, so that when those thoughts do start to creep up, when you start feeling a bit lazy, when you're not motivated, you know that I said I was going to do this in a specific time or at a specific time, and I must do it. And I'm not going to take a break, or I'm not going to stop until I do it. Because you want to tell yourself, when you tell yourself you're going to do something, one, you want to do it. And two, you want to do it efficiently. You want to cut that time as short as possible in terms of being able to do things efficiently, because then you start to move forward towards, your goals and things you want to achieve in a much more efficient manner. And I think that all contributes in sort of helping build confidence in yourself, because again, you start to become an individual who honors your word, an individual who is true to the things you say you're going to do. Because there's so many people, so many examples where people say they're going to do things, but because your actions are determined by your mood, or when the slightest inconvenience comes up, you kind of just, I'll stop working for today, or I'll just finish it off tomorrow. You push things off till tomorrow. Next thing, 6 months have passed, and you 25% towards a goal that you said you should have completed in 5 months. So I think, if anything, start to become someone who does what they say they're going to do and sticks to their word. Obviously, there's balance in everything, and if you're at a point where now you're burning out and you're getting sick and stuff, that's a clear sign that you need to slow down. But when you do get those thoughts that, I'm tired, I'm lazy, I don't feel like doing this today, just challenge yourself at that moment and try to push the limits and see, or at least, maybe push another hour, 2, or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, it's just about building confidence in yourself, keeping the momentum going, kind of just getting things done as efficiently as possible. And that's just the frame of mind that I feel I have to be in, because I've got a very strict sort of schedule between now and my exam on Wednesday. And any time I lose in that time between now and Wednesday almost takes away from the amount of prep that I will have done by the exam. And that's maybe another thing. Maybe you need a very hard deadline, or a very hard deliverable or goal that is going to keep you accountable to doing the things you're going to say you're going to do, because it's much harder to not do certain things when you know that it's all leading to a specific outcome. So I think the exam has kind of helped me in that sense, but it's not going to be the same for my trading goals or gym or whatever, but I think the principle still applies. So yeah, that was the week this week. Marcy and I are very keen on doing a midweek sort of like live stream this coming week, so stay tuned for that. We'll definitely let you guys know if we're doing that or when you're going to do that. Thank you guys for tuning in to this week's weekly review, and if you haven't already, check out my boy Marcy's weekly review video somewhere here or somewhere on the screen, I don't know, but definitely do check that out, and check out some of the other content that we have on the page. And guys, do not forget, consistency is a choice you make when you stop focusing on the outcome and start doing the work you should be doing day in and day out.